Hi everyone, it's Elsie here from the customer care team, and today we're looking at Keela's reports tool powered by Kit. Keela's reports are made up of dashboards and widgets. To start, you create a dashboard. Think of a dashboard as a blank corkboard. You know the ones in detective novels where they pin newspaper clippings and photos and connect all the clues with the red yarn, just like that. Once you've got your blank corkboard or dashboard, as we call it in Keela, you can then pin a bunch of different widgets to it. So these widgets are like the sticky notes, the newspaper articles, and the clues that you might stick on top of your metaphoric corkboard. So you can see the dashboard is something that contains all of the widgets. You stick the widgets onto the dashboard. You can have a dashboard for all different kinds of data. Perhaps you'll create one for your contacts, and then you'll create another dashboard for your donations, and another dashboard for your volunteer records. And the best part? Unlike corkboards, dashboards keep themselves up to date automatically. So once you've laid the foundations for your dashboard, you can save it and you won't need to do a thing. They're always going to be updating the widgets within them automatically. To begin, head to Reports here in the sidebar. In Reports, you'll be able to create and manage your dashboards. So click Create Dashboard to get started. There are two options to create a dashboard. First, we have one click over here. Here, we've organized a group of pre-made dashboards based on the data that we think you'll find useful. So to use our corkboard example, imagine that you're getting a board that's already got some really useful sticky notes, pictures, and stories on it already. But of course, you can add more if you like. The Custom tab works a little differently. If you choose this option, you'll be building your dashboard from scratch, or it's as if you're getting a completely blank corkboard that you can stick things to starting from the ground up. You can find a brief description of all the reports written in grey here, so you can get an understanding of what you're going to be creating before you progress. So let's start with a one-click dashboard, and I'll choose all contacts. I think that's a great place to start. Everyone's going to be using this one most likely. No matter what type of report you choose, you'll always have access to these three tabs up the top here. You have Overview, Data, and Calculations. Let's start with the Overview tab. Here at the top, you've got the name of your dashboard. Remember, your dashboard is like the corkboard that you're going to stick stuff to. And then below it, you have all of your widgets. So these are kind of like the post-it notes, the images, the newspaper clippings, the clues that someone would stick to their corkboard. Because this is a one-click report, we've chosen the widgets that are stuck here based on a few best practices that we know. Let's see what we've got. First, we have a summary of all of the data in your report. This is where you're going to get your really simple questions answered. So I'm looking at a report of all of my contacts. There are a total of 1,322 donations for these contacts, which leads to an amount of 634,000. The average donation is about $480, and there are 66 total contacts that are in this report. This overview section is going to change depending on what type of one-click report you look at, but they'll always have the most important information. It'll always be here. Next, let's move on to widgets. So the first widget we've stuck here is donation transactions over time. So we've got this little graph here. Straight away, you're going to get some questions answered that you didn't even know you'd ask. I can see that we had a huge year in 2020, but our fundraising has dropped off in 2001. Keep in mind this is a test account. So you can use this graph to recognize your busy months and your slow months and plan accordingly. Next, subscription status. So here I can see a breakdown of all the different membership subscriptions that I might have for those contacts. Of course, I don't have any data here, but let's try contact regions. It's a little bit more specific. Here, I can see the total number of contacts that we have, the total number of regions that this encompasses, and I can also see a breakdown of those regions down here as well. So scrolling down, you can see there are many useful widgets that we've added in here. So you can come in and you can get to know them. Now, the good thing is that you can also remove them. Click on these little dots here, and you can rename the widget or you can remove it if it's not something that's useful. So if I go back up here, remember I didn't have any subscription statuses, so perhaps I might like to remove that to keep things a little bit more neat and tidy. You can see a list of all of the widgets that have been stuck to your dashboard by clicking on this Reorder Widgets button here. Here you'll see that list, and of course also you can reorder them. So let's say I'm looking through and I think, oh, contact lifetime donations, that looks useful. Let's bring that one to the top. And customizable contacts table, that's brilliant as well. That's how we interact with this section. We'll go ahead and we'll save that. So now I can get a breakdown of the segments of lifetime donations that my contacts fit into. And the best thing about these widgets is that you can interact with nearly every image or figure connected to them. So if I click on these donation figures up here, let's go average, I can see all the individual average donations that make up that information. Or down here, let's say I want to click on a specific section, maybe the folks who are between 4,000 and 6,000. Let's click on that one. I can see exactly who those folks are and what their total donations are, total lifetime donations. But let's take that even a step further. Let's say I want to reach out to these contacts to thank them for this. If I click on the little paper icon up here, I can get a couple of actions. I can save these contacts as a segment. Maybe I want to send them an email later on. I can export the records. Perhaps I want to export them to a CSV file and use it as a mail merge to send out letters, or I can add these contacts to a tag. So perhaps I'd like to add them to our silver badge tag. Once you hit a specific amount of lifetime donations, you become a silver badge member, something like that. So now they're ready to be emailed later on. So to summarize, when you select one of these one-click reports, you're going to get a bunch of pre-selected widgets that have been stuck to your dashboard that you can reorder, click on, and interact with. If you like, you can add even more widgets by clicking on the Add Widget button up here. There are so many. We've created heaps based on our own research about what kind of information would be useful for nonprofits in a dashboard. So you've got all types here, and you can have up to 10 widgets selected. So let's say I don't need contact regions. I'm going to remove that. And I don't need individuals versus company records. That's not something that I need. But let's go to donation transactions, and perhaps I want to look at donations from with receipts. Let's add that one. End of year is coming up. But maybe I want to go back to contacts and I want to look at major gift donors as well. Let's go ahead and remove contact creation date. I don't need that one, but perhaps I want to see all my to-dos. Oh, that one's already been added. So if I go next, we can save that up here. So let's go to that major gift donor that I added. I'm going to bring that one up here to the top. I want to view that one. I'll save it. And here again, I can click on these sections and I can see who my major gift donors are automatically calculated by Keela. We can see those in here, and maybe I want to add them to a tag or a segment as well. Or I can see those folks who haven't had a donation receipt issued for them. So we've got donations in here with receipts, no receipt issued or receipt issued. So I can see I've got a lot of work to do before the end of the year. Lucky Keela has that bulk receipting tool, so I can get these all issued and sent out in bulk. So far, we've been looking at an all contacts one-click report. So that's showing every contact that I have in my database, which is 66. I can view that in here. But let's say I want to narrow that list down even further. Maybe I want to look at only those contacts who have submitted a donation this year, or something along those lines. So you can definitely do that by clicking on Filter Dataset. And you can add as many filters as you like. And what this is going to do is filter the entire dataset that you're looking at. It's going to narrow down these numbers. And all of the widgets will be updated automatically to include that. So let's go filter dataset. Maybe I want to filter by region. And I want to look at regions, folks who were coming from California. Let's filter that out. So you can see my total number of contacts has been updated automatically from 66 to 16. So that's how you filter the entire section. And all of the data tab and calculation tabs, those are going to update automatically when you filter the data set here. And want to know something else? though, on top of that, you can also narrow down the actual widgets themselves. You'll see that there's filters buttons here above all of your widgets. So perhaps you want to filter the whole data set by region, but maybe when you're zooming down here, you might want to look at the companies and individuals a little bit more. So let's filter that. Let's say we only want to look at people who were created within the last, let's say this month. We'll filter that out. So I can see that narrows down things completely. We don't have any contacts within the last month who were created from this list that I've got so far. So that's how you can filter down a specific widget as well. Let's remove that filter and let that update itself automatically. So when you're using these widget filters, none of the other widgets will be affected. Whereas when you're using the filtered data set, all widgets will be affected by that. So we've gone over contact reports with different widgets added to them. You can also choose contact reports with donation widgets or interaction widgets. We've got LiveBunt and SciBunt lists, or even membership lists right there. So let's go take a look at those. If I head back to reports, I don't want to save this one. You can see all the other ones that we've got going on. So a LiveBunt list might be a really good one to start off with. You can look at folks who donated last year, but not this year. And Keela will automatically create this report for you and add all of the relevant sort of widgets. So we've got things like donor scores that you might want to look at, or you've got any to-dos that would be relevant to those contacts if you'd set yourself some tasks. So really kind of customizable. Okay, so we're pretty comfortable with the overview tab right now. Let's take a look at tab number 2, the data tab. So while the overview tab used widgets to show you all kinds of fancy things about your report, the data tab itself is more straight cut. Here you're just going to see all of the data elements that make up your report. So if I head back to overview, let's remove my filter that out. Let's go to data here and let's see that update here. So you're going to see the contacts. This is a contact report, so I'm going to see contact folks. If I created a donation report, I would be seeing transactions here. Or if I created a volunteer report, I'd see volunteer records. So it's going to automatically update. And you can do things like adjust the columns of what you're viewing. You can download, export it to a CSV file if that's something you're after. And that's something you can do on all reports, no matter what type you've got here. And lastly, you've got calculations. So these are just handy little calculations that we've pre-added for you that you can choose from. You can add up to 5. So it's things like amount of donations from these contacts between a specific date. So maybe you want to just save that and you'll get that figure in here. So it can be really handy if you're just wanting to kind of view something in here really quickly, we can do that math for you. So number of single donations from these contacts, let's add that, 1,292, just in case you want to take it a little bit further. So that was a one-click report. Let's head back and look at custom reports. So let's say I want to create a custom report, but this time I'm looking at custom donation report. I'll click next and I'll give it a name. So we'll say I'm going to make it 2021 donations. And here I can add my filter. So this is what you're looking at. If you want to just look at all donations, you can click next and it's going to create a report of all donations. But I'm looking at a specific year. So let's go date created and is relatively this year. So we'll go next. So now you can see that I've got this filter. That filter that I applied on my report when I was creating it is available here. And of course, because this is a custom report, no widgets have been added. You can add your own widgets and kind of build it from scratch. So let's see what we've got. Okay, so we're looking at donation data. So the widgets available look a little bit different. We've got donation transactions up the top, and I can add up to 10. So maybe I want to look at campaigns. Let's see a breakdown of the donations from this year over campaign to see which ones they went into. Donations with receipts, that'll be a good one to let me know how much work I've got to do. Pledges, I can look at pledge statuses of any of those donations. Contacts, pretty handy. Let's look at major gift donors, contact lifetime donations, and recurring donation lifetime gift totals. And what about engagement stage to see where they're at in terms of Keela's automatically calculated engagement stage? And there we have it. The widgets get added. I can save it like this. And I know that whenever I come back here, it's going to have the widgets that I've selected and they're all going to be updating automatically. So campaigns, I can see a breakdown of the campaigns across the whole year. There was a total of 8, and here's sort of where that fits into. If I want to customize it, I can make it a pie chart, and instead of a sum, I can look at a count. So we can swap that around and we can see that kind of visually differently. Over here, I've got donations with receipts. So maybe I want to click on this and I want to add these contacts to a tag so that later on when I'm using the bulk receipting tool to reissue all these outstanding receipts, I can use this tag to say, 2021 donation report to say I've checked these off when I was viewing the donation report. That's something I can use later on. So they work exactly the same way. You've still got all of the same tabs. It's just that when you choose a one-click report, you're going to be getting widgets automatically added from by us. And when you choose a custom report, you can create them yourself. And I just want to run through some of these in a little bit more detail. So when you're choosing a SciBunt list, so contacts who donated some years ago but not this year, you can select the specific years. If you go down here and you decide, okay, I want to look at members with subscriptions expiring soon, and then click next, these widgets you're going to get are the subscription status, membership breakdown by plan, to-do status in case you've got to-dos there, and donors versus non-donors. So you can see of your members who have donation transactions and who don't. So really cool stuff here. I advise you all to come in and have a play. You can't break it. So just try out all the different widgets and see if you can get inspired from it. See what works for you. Happy reporting.